Here's a quick disclaimer. The views, statements, and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers. The statements are not intended to be product claims or medical advice. Hi, Diana Fryc here, and I am the host of the Gooder podcast, where I get to talk with the powerhouse women in the food, beverage, and wellness categories about the business of consumer packaged goods, branding, and leadership. This episode is brought to you by Retail Voodoo. Retail Voodoo is a brand development firm providing strategic brand and design services for brands in the food, wellness, and beverage industries. Our clients include Starbucks, Kind, PepsiCo, Heike, and many other market leaders. So if you're in the market to crush the competition by driving growth and disrupting marketplace with new and innovative ideas, give us a call and let's talk. Or you can visit us at retail-voodoo.com. Okay, this is new for me today. I'll be chatting with two guests at one time, and hopefully I don't lose track of time because y'all know I like to chat. So before I introduce them, let me tell you a little bit about who we get to meet today. First off, we have Alex Taylor, who is co-founder and co-CEO of Perelel, and wellness has always been top of mind for her, as she has Hashimoto's disease. For those of you that don't know, it's an autoimmune disorder that affects about 5% of women in the US. She first grew intimately aware of the lack of transparency and education available in the prenatal vitamin market when she was pregnant with her first child and begun customizing a prenatal regimen for herself before co-founding Perelel in 2020. Previously, she served as president and executive editor-in-chief in Click Media, maintained roles at Vogue, Rogers, and Cowan. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you don't need to mention Rogers and Cowan so long ago.
All right.
Yeah, Vogue, Google, Free People.
Google, Free People. And, let's just throw in, she's been recognized under the Forbes 30 under 30. That is something that needs to be shared. And then with her is her co-founder, co-CEO partner, Victoria, or as we'll be calling her, Tori Thain Gioia. Tori was moved to launch Perelel alongside Alex and their doctor partner, which I'm going to let them go ahead and tell that story here in a moment. While pregnant, she learned that her daughter would be born with a cleft lip. Eager to find answers, Tori covered an array of additional issues that can arise from relying on generic prenatal vitamin and took matters into her own hands with Perelel. Prior to launching Perelel, Tori held roles in finance, bless you, strategy, even more blessings, and investing at a number of places, including Olive and June Honest, Carbon 38, Crestview, and more. And I say that because I'm in an MBA program right now and have traditionally been a sales and marketing girl, and finance just about put me to death. And so that's why I'm saying bless you, because don't know how you do it. You are one of the special ones.
Truly.
Well, welcome to you both, Tori and Alex. How are you?
We're good. Thank you for having us.
Of course. And you are located on the West Coast, is that right?
Yes, we're in LA.
Okay. Is that where your business in manufacturing is as well?
Yes, we actually do have all our manufacturing here in California as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so very nice to meet you. Excited to learn more about Perelel. I think there's a lot of us out here who have not heard about you, and excited to start our little journey here. Now, first off, I always love it when our guests tell us about their brands. So tell us a little bit about Perelel and what the brand stands for.
Sure. So Perelel, really the name comes from the idea that we hope to be parallel to wherever our woman is in her reproductive or hormonal journey. And we are the first and only OBGYN founded prenatal and vitamin brand for women, offering targeted stage specific nutrition for every step of the way.
Yeah. Nice. Well, now, as I read your bios, we heard that you guys come from different backgrounds, not just not just the two of you separately, but you don't have manufacturing backgrounds. You don't come from wellness traditionally. Why not do what the rest of us did and try product after product after product after product, settle for something that works? Like, what inspired you to create this brand?
I mean, it was our personal experience, and we were failed by product after product after product, both in major ways, but also in the minor ways that we were trying to figure it out on our own. And there wasn't one product that actually covered all of our needs during this journey. So Alex and I were introduced quite a few years ago now, which is kind of crazy. But we both become moms, and we both had sort of diverse backgrounds, but all in startups and sort of circling the wellness category. And we really wanted to better support the new millennial mom. And so we were kind of noodling on what was missing and why she was so undersupported. And at the same time, I had just given birth to my middle child, our daughter Imogen, who, as you mentioned, was born with a cleft. And as we were dealing with surgery and care, I was digging in to understand the why, because I had, again, been that type A millennial mom who ate all organic and used clean beauty products and non-toxic chemicals in our household and checked every box. And I found out that she had a nutrition-related cleft.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, so clefts are highly linked. There's two different ways that they can occur, sort of genetic and non-genetic. And on the non-genetic side, they can be linked to nutrition deficiencies, more specifically a folic acid deficiency.
Oh, I had no idea.
So I didn't either. So it was a learning process that sort of broke my heart along the way. But, caused us to really learn about, what were these themes going on. And it was poor quality ingredients in terms of the formats, whether it was folic acid versus folate, which is the more bioavailable format. Also the dosages and the levels that were actually in the products didn't actually cover your needs. How important timing was, where these birth defects form within the first 9 weeks of a pregnancy, which can also people don't know that they're even pregnant, so should be covering their needs early on, and just an overall lack of information given sort of how we're both sort of feeling. And so I was learning all this and sharing all this with Alex, who it completely resonated with her as well from her experience.
Yeah, and I was coming from it from a very different place, but obviously, hearing about Tori's experience and talking about nutrition and how we support each other during these stages and support our bodies, I thought back to my own experience, which was I was very privileged to have an incredible team of care around me. I saw my OB, I had an acupuncturist, an herbalist, a naturopathic doctor. And between this team, I pieced together my own vitamin routine, which involved me hunting down DHA from here and a prenatal from there and supplementing with omega or extra CoQ10. And I would adjust for my stage. So I was the girl walking around with a large pill sorting container. You hear me kind of jiggling as I come around the corner with pills. But that was me. And as we started to piece this all together, we both saw that timing, quality, nutrition, and also the fact that the onus was put on us as consumers to put this routine together. And there really wasn't a source of truth or a place that we could reliably look to. Oftentimes, even as just 5 years ago, you would Google some of these really important questions and, you'd typically end up on some user-generated forum where anyone from anywhere was telling you how much folate you should be taking in your first trimester or looking for in your prenatal. And we wanted to solve that too through education. So together we realized there's this opportunity to create targeted vitamin routines that are put together for all these different stages, but they need to be done by the doctors who know best.
Yeah. So we knew we had the backgrounds to, that was the bypass call from the nanny, and I hope everything's fine. Sorry.
Do you want to take a look?
No, it's fine.
Are you sure?
But so sorry about that. So when we went through this, we had the backgrounds where we knew we could get this done, but then we were kind of recreating the problem, because at the end of the day, there were all these brands out there, but we didn't trust any of them because of where they were coming from or who was making the products and who was actually informing the ingredients. And so who do you turn to during this stage? It's your OB. And so we validated the concept with one of the top OB and maternal fetal medicine experts in the country, the head of obstetrics at Columbia Presbyterian, from our very early days, kind of with this idea on a power that we wanted to build. And it so wholeheartedly resonated with her, and she confirmed it was needed and it didn't exist. And so she sort of gave us her blessing and then helped us think about who else we should bring on to create this, and putting together what we now refer to as our Perelel panel. So obviously starting with our medical co-founder, who is a practicing OBGYN, who sees this woman day in and day out, who tests her and sort of sees all of those gaps and what she's doing today. So she runs point on all of our formulations, new product development, and all of our content, as well as medical community relations. And then we have two of the country's top reproductive endocrinologists that joined us.
Oh my goodness.
From day one, a maternal fetal medicine specialist, but also the other practitioners, like Alex mentioned, like your naturopath and you're a reproductive psychiatrist and nutritionist, and everyone you turn to along the way that is seeing this woman and seeing her needs, that can contribute to the products that we create, the products we developed, and the content that we create to give those answers to this woman.
Yeah. It was really important to us to create a product that was formulated by a truly holistic team. Yeah. Today's woman is certainly seeing, her OB, but she also is seeing alternative practitioners to build her health and wellness routine. And that was important for us to reflect. And obviously throughout the whole process, everything is, there's a tremendous amount of rigor applied. Every single ingredient is meticulously backed by a whole body of research and, trials that really qualify the dose or, what additional ingredients need to be put in so that main ingredient can do its job. So it's been so fascinating to watch all these experts come together and truly create a routine for today's woman and what she needs.
And you guys were really feeling inspired that this was something you needed to do, right? It wasn't give this idea to somebody else. It was very much something you wanted to own. Tell us a little bit more about that.
I mean, I think, so obviously we have a very deep personal connection to solving
For
this.
sure.
We learned that 1 in 33 babies in the U.S. are born with a birth defect, and many of those are nutrition related. And so we wanted to create this mission-driven brand because we felt so passionate about it. And as I'm sure you've heard from many founders, it's not actually as glamorous as, some people make it seem. Like, this is pretty brutal. And so you have to feel pretty passionate and driven. And we knew we had that. But also, we were very much this woman. And so we knew what was missing. We knew what we wanted. We knew how we wanted to be seen and heard.
Yeah. We feel uniquely positioned to do it because of not only the deeply personal and emotional connection to the mission of the business, which we'll have to talk about, but additionally, we had the skill set. Tori has this incredible background in business strategy, finance operations. I'm a marketer, a brand builder, a storyteller, and we had these doctors that really plugged in to run point on the product, and we realized we had these kind of 3 pieces that perfectly interlock to bring Perelel to life. And then also there's these moments in technology that also allow us to bring Perelel to life.
Exactly.
The packaging format of our products and innovation in terms of formulation. So it was all of these things coming together that made it really clear we had to do it.
Yeah.
And it really is that mission of creating a world with more healthy, supported women, more happy, healthy moms and babies that gets us out of bed every day. And Courtney shared a stat earlier, and we really took that to heart. We could have easily built this business and tacked on some random gift back later, but that wasn't how we roll. We
donate a supply of our vitamins for every new subscription, which is not the most cost effective way to do that. And it was a conversation when we were looking for investors. And to this day, it's not cheap, but we were not willing to say, oh, for the people who are paying for it, we're going to give them this high quality formulation, everything they need. And then for what we donate, we're going to cut corners and give cheaper ingredients like folic acid. That's not what we were going to do. And that's not why we created this.
Yeah. So our hope is really to expand access. We've donated over $1 million worth of product to date to underserved women, specifically in the United States. I think we've helped over 33,000 women. It's pretty tremendous. I love that. We're just getting started, and it's truly what gets us through those tough times. And
well, it's no joke we've had entrepreneurs on this show, and we've had people that are C-suite at multinationals and everything in between. And I really do think that the entrepreneurs have the biggest, I wouldn't say you have the hardest work to do because you have to wear so many hats, but in particular in supplements is such a strange set of rules that you have to work around. It's not as cut and dry as food and beverage. Food and beverage is far more, your checklist looks like this. And in the supplements category, there's a lot of, as I learned about in finance, it depends who you talk to, where the ingredient comes from, so many variables. So I can completely respect how challenging getting the business up and running, first of all, is, and then the not wanting to compromise on the quality of your product and the dosage, the amount that you're putting in each dosage is also a big thing, because so many vitamins and supplements on the market have fillers. You're looking at a horse pill and you think it's just packed, and it's not.
You're wild. I mean, it really showed us how little regulation there is with what you put not only on your body, but in your body. Starting Perelel too.
Yeah, the supply chain management has been a very interesting 3-year journey.
I bet.
And learning a lot, and also how do we navigate a world where there aren't as many rules? So how do we create internal rules and regulations that because we took the products. We had the first 2 Perelel babies. We did, we our did. Last children. And so, not only would we never serve something that was a bad quality, but we were also testing it and taking it.
Right.
And so making sure that, our suppliers are following all of our requests, like where things can be sourced, what additives can go in there. And we have to push back. We have ongoing conversations where, no, that ingredient's not acceptable, and we will not
acceptable. And this accessibility component is very close to my heart as well. A lot of what I've learned over the past 3 years of podcasts is particularly in the better for you and wellness categories, and how much the products that are the best quality tend to be positioned and priced out of reach for a number of people that actually need it the most. And so I just am so thrilled to hear that you're working with brands, and we're talking about what we know, where the disparity is by race and by caste and by income. It's very real, very systemic set of issues that you guys are taking up. And I feel like you sort of synthesize it very well, but I'll ask a little bit more about this. On your website, you have this statement that said, women deserve better. And I know that we've addressed that a little bit, but what specifically are you trying to say with that statement?
Well, it's really there's so many layers here, but I think the first is that women's health is eons behind men's. Starting in the late 1970s, women of childbearing age were omitted from clinical trials. For
about 15 years, because their bodies were too complicated because of hormones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
a normal woman's body.
Not too complicated. It's just how our bodies work. But there's this gap in our knowledge about how our bodies work. And much of what we know is based on men's bodies and clinical trials that were, done with men. And we are behind in what it takes a woman much longer to get a proper diagnosis when dealing with various health issues.
Up to 7 years to get
yes, I've seen it happen with friends and family. Yeah, absolutely.
And so there's that layer. And then on top of it all, we are living in a time where women's peak career and productivity years are intersecting with their peak reproductive years. And there's obviously a physical strain and complexity that comes into the picture there. And is there a way that we can support these women with wherever they are in their journey to ensure that they're getting the best and they don't have to worry about it or do the endless research or take all the time to pour into figuring out what vitamin to take. So there's a lot of things that we're trying to solve when we say women deserve better. You know, women deserve better health research and more health advocacy. Women deserve better products that are truly effective and doctor backed, not some random product off of some manufacturer's shelf that looks pretty in a bottle. Like there's so much that we have to do here to create products that not only change, you know, women's health and inform their outcomes, but also to start a conversation about the importance of investing in women's health.
Yeah.
You know,
from the very beginning, even probably at day one. Yeah. I mean, I look at my kids and just for some validation, you know, I've seen women's health evolve. I'm a little bit older than you guys, probably more than I'd want to say publicly. But what I can say is I've seen since I had my daughter and she's now in her teens, what I gave her for supplementation as a child, gummies, right? Now as a teenager has evolved quite a bit. And so I have a lot of hope that as the industry continues to evolve, now she'll have some better health outcomes than I did by the time she's in her 20s and 30s is when things started to go a little bit wacky, you know, as it does. Women are complicated. Like, we can't take that component out, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have our bodies taken seriously, right?
Women's bodies are complicated. We have hormones. And so you can't just say then, oh, we're not going to include that because of the ups and downs. Like, that's just what a woman is. So you can't just say women don't count.
And also understanding that it's not just woman, not woman. It's where is this woman in her life cycle because her needs are so different. You know, what I need versus my mother versus you know, my teen cousin is so different. And we want to solve for that too. And you know, it's a lot of work, but you know, we're committed to it. And it's wonderful also to see other brands that are really keying in on how to support women based on these different life stages we experience.
Starting to really see that journey and actually acknowledge that. And I do think that goes back to where we've talked about women deserve better. It's you know, it's some of the content, it's the community, it's seeing their journey. And I feel like what we, you know, whether it's we launched a recovery support pack to specifically support a woman going through a miscarriage, where when I went through that 6 years ago, no one really talked about it and you felt so alone. And so wanting to have those conversations that this is what's happening to women. 25% of women are likely to have a loss. And then we don't talk about that. And we just, you forget about it and move on. Like,
and sometimes it's also about seeing a product on a shelf that makes this experience feel less weird or fringe or abnormal. And something that we hope to do through Perelel is to make every woman feel seen and normalize the wild, twisting up and down wackadoo journey of having these bodies. And it's all normal.
It is. Yeah. And to further complicate it, right, I entered menopause way longer ago than you would think. And apparently it's not uncommon for women to enter menopause in their 30s. And oh, by the way, if you have cancer and your uterus is removed, you go into menopause immediately. And that could be at 21. And so you layer those complications, like you're in menopause and you're having a baby, because that's what the 40s are all about. Now, what do you do, right? So it's clear that having a sophisticated approach to supplementation can really start to balance all of those things out. And they're not going to alleviate it, of course, but it can take care of some of those gaps that right now are missing.
Yeah, or smooth over some of those symptoms.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I kind of like to jump over to how you guys have been interacting or sharing the world of Perelel. You two are definitely building a buzz for your brand through partnerships. Super hot right now. You're hitting all the angles with influencers and investors, even a little retailer action with Erewhon, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Kind of people are pretty excited about that. It's keeping you busy.
Yes.
Now, of course, this is what everybody's dream, every brand's dream is, a particularly fast growth where you are. What are you learning? So the question is less about the marketing component and more about what you're learning about your brand and what consumers or mothers are sharing with you through this approach.
You know, it's interesting. Yeah. Tori and I had a really fascinating conversation last week about how typically brands have really looked to outside sources to validate and build trust and credibility. And what's become very unique about our brand, we believe, based on what we see through the data and just the way this brand is continuing to bloom, is that we have inherently built trust into the brand, the nature of our co-founders, the process by which we bring product to market. And that's been very unique for us. You know, we really look at partnerships less than, of course, they have to reinforce our kind of trust halo, but more about like, do they align with our values and principles? And are we going to be able to reach a woman who would be very qualified for our brand? But it was interesting to learn that our brand is different. It has this trust built into the fabric and soul since day one. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah. And we see that in what customers write in and what they ask us, because it's so personal. Where I'm always blown away, where like, I cannot believe someone is asking a brand that, but it's because they don't see us as a brand. And they're asking the most intimate details. They're sharing things. They're sharing what's going on in their personal life and asking for advice.
Their baby shower announcement or their baby announcement.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Amazing. Yeah. But they are asking us very specific questions about their health and, you know,
like
how
their personal situation and what we would recommend and how we would go through this. And they see us as both sort of a very trusted health advocate, but also as sort of a trusted community, and that they can write in and ask their personal questions during this journey where you often feel like you don't have somewhere to turn to.
Yeah. Very deep emotional connection we're finding that our community has with us. And I think it is because of the way that, you know, not only what the box says that really validates what they're going through, but the way that we program across our channels and the content that we bring forth. It's very much a blend of, you know, a lot of medically rooted information, but through the lens of our woman in a way that only we can intimately understand. And I think that's part of the beauty also of Perelel, is that it comes from a really genuine place. It comes from a place where we really understand what she's going through, how she wants to be treated at every touch point, and how can we super serve her along the way.
Super server. I like that. Yeah, that's really great that you're building this community. And I find it interesting that you're having this connection, because sometimes when you're working with these influencers, particularly when they might be the larger influencers or even a celebrity one, you can, as a brand at the stage that you're in, can get lost in the environment of these influencers.
Yeah.
And how are you making sure that that Perelel remains Perelel and partners with your influencers and not kind of get sucked into that world? Can you talk about that a little bit?
We'll never be the brand that has some celebrity's face on a billboard telling you to take Perelel. We love if they're an evangelizer and they're a fan of the brand, but there is a very, very fine and important line that we draw. We love having this world of highly influential people who really consider what they put in their body out there, talking about Perelel in a very positive way. But ultimately, the trust comes from the brand and from doctors and experts who know best.
Yeah.
If we were to be a brand that's built on celebrity, it might hinder our trust. Not that celebrities aren't trustworthy, but the product specifically, a doctor, a practitioner knows what you should be putting in your body. And that always needs to come from that place.
Yeah. And that goes back to our founding story where there were a ton of brands out there, but we didn't trust any of them. We didn't feel great about that. And I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Sometimes if you look at the ingredient list and what's in there, it's got pretty loose. And so at the end of the day, it needs to be a doctor founded brand and a doctor backed brand at the end of the day. And we don't want to be distracted by putting a celebrity on something and becoming that brand. But that's not to say we don't love having great fans of the brand.
Oh, for sure.
We want to support all these women.
Come on. We want it all. Come on.
Yeah. But, for us also, it's very much about how do we continue to build our network and inroads into the medical community through our founding doctors and advisors. And that's truly been the Trojan horse for us, more brand awareness and feeding the big old flywheel that is our awareness engine.
I love that. Well, and you guys are really having a lot of success here in your first few years of growth. Just really, many entrepreneurs dream of what you guys have going on here. I am curious about what you see. What's the vision? When do you know that you will have achieved what you had hoped for this brand? What's the future hold?
I mean, I want every woman to know about Perelel and that Perelel has something to support her.
Yeah, I think it's that, we, as we said earlier, called ourselves Perelel, that we are parallel to wherever this woman is in her reproductive journey. So having something that supports her from her first period through menopause and beyond, and that she feels supported every step of the way.
I love it. Alex and Tori, I'm just, I could probably hop on a plane and with a bottle of good vodka and sit with you for a little while, but I'm enjoying our time together, and we're kind of wrapping up with our time. But there's a question that I like to ask everybody, because of course my show is all about elevating women leadership, and that's this one. Are there any other women leaders or rising stars out there, it could be in our industry or not, that you'd like to elevate for the work that they're doing right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. God, I think of so many incredible women that are just rewriting the script on what success looks like. Some of them we've been fortunate to bring on as investors. So there's someone like Risa Girona, who's the chief brand officer at Revolve. And I've just deeply admired her because she's a leader that leads with kindness and intention.
Yeah.
And, there's other folks out there like Ariel Kay, who's the founder of Parachute, who has built a brand primarily through a D2C channel to great success and scaled that really thoughtfully while not losing sight of what the brand is.
Yeah, I agree. And I love Risa, and I think all she does in a mission driven of supporting women. And I think, I think about Laura Modi from Bobby and all she's doing on advocacy. I think it's these like-minded mission-driven brands. I think like Amy Liu and what she does in supporting like different brands, and it's just everyone's out there supporting women and supporting women internally in their organizations, externally, and advocating from them. And I think those are the leaders that I really look up to.
Agreed.
Oh, thank you so much. I believe I may be interviewing the founder of, excuse me, of Parachute in a week or so.
Oh, good. She's tremendous. We'll have a great conversation with her.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that just makes it even more exciting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we've been talking with Alex Taylor and Tori Thain Gioia, co-founders and co-CEOs of Perelel. Where can we learn more about your company and what the two of you are up to?
Sure. You can find us at perelelhealth.com. That's PERELEL health.com, or follow us the same spot on Instagram. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I am so happy to have met you, and I look forward to watching you grow and see what you do. The work that you're doing is really important. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for
Mm.
having us. This has been such a delight.
Oh, yeah. And thank you to the listeners. Well, to you listeners, I should say, for your time today. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend. And I know that there's plenty of us that should be sharing this particular episode. So make sure that happens. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you next time on the Gooder Podcast.
Produced by Heartcast Media.